In many cases across the world, teenagers are pushed to decide on a career path that will, in turn, determine the rest of their lives. Such is the case for those in the UK, where picking A levels at age 16 sets you down a path that might be difficult to deviate from. Becoming a doctor might be a given, perhaps because it is a choice made by your parents or because of expectations placed on you. With the author, it was a default setting for his life, since he is Jewish with a doctor for a father, and because the school he went to typically produced medics, lawyers, and cabinet members. Even if your goal to become a doctor was encouraged by the desire to help others, your education may not adequately prepare you to do so. Many people want the prestige of being a doctor, which is why schools are overwhelmed with applicants. With potential students of similar academic standing, the next criterion to look at would be extracurriculars, rather than how compassionate someone is. Perhaps it would make sense to choose medical students using a psychiatric or personality test since it is such a mentally and emotionally demanding job. The medical profession takes an enormous toll on doctors emotionally. The line between life and death can be perilously thin and, as a doctor, you become one of the few people forming a barrier across that line. Sometimes, no matter how much you try or how hard you work, there will be those who slip through the cracks. But then, there are also good times. You see a patient pull through, and it feels like everything you've done to get here was worth it. Even if you only made a difference in one person's life, it's something that might be inexplicably huge to them, while just being another working day for you. A hospital is like a melting pot. Not only do you meet different kinds of people, all with their unique stories and experiences, you also get the chance to see and learn different things with their distinct situations. As a doctor who chose to specialize in obstetrics and gynecology, the author not only experienced the unique feeling of preserving life but also the miracle of childbirth, over and over again. Of course, being an OB/GYN involved more than just delivering babies, and each aspect of the job provided countless different experiences. In the daytime hours, working in a hospital is easy. There are people more experienced and more knowledgeable than you who are ready and standing by. At night, things are vastly different. Most of the doctors leave, and the more senior professionals are at the accident and emergency department. This is because NHS hospitals run on a skeleton crew at night. Those more senior than you are tackling problems that are bigger and with sharper teeth. Whether they are big or small fires, it is up to you to put all of them out. Numerous lives are in your hands. Even if you panic, even if you are clueless, you have to do your utmost best to handle each and every emergency that comes your way. If not, things will go south very fast. Needless to say, the job is stressful. You have to learn quickly to ensure that you are giving the best possible care to each patient as and when a problem presents itself. When the pager goes off, there is no ignoring it. Whether it's a real emergency or for something frivolous, you cannot take the chance. So, asleep or wide awake, you have to jump up and get to work when you hear that beep. One of the anecdotes the author tells is the story of when he needed to collect a package. Most adults have jobs with the typical 9-5 workday, so popping into the post office during lunch would suffice. Since the author doesn't have a lunch hour, he waits until his next day off, which doesn't come for 18 days. The precise amount of time the post office keeps the package before returning it to the sender. The package contained a gift for his partner, the partner who later leaves him due to the lack of time together. Throughout the book, the author highlights that he spent many more hours working than he was contracted for. It simply was not possible for him to leave on time, not when there were more patients to see and lives to keep safe. All this comes at a cost, as was repeatedly showcased. Important events were missed, including but not limited to Christmases, birthdays, friends' weddings, and anniversaries. When we go to see a doctor, we expect them to be perfect. They don't just have to know what is wrong with us and come up with a suitable treatment plan. They also have to be professional and reassuring, making sure that we both understand what it is that is going on with our bodies and also ensure that we are handling the information well. But here's the thing, doctors are not robots. They are not machines that you feed signs and symptoms, to which process the information and spit out a diagnosis and an accompanying prescription. As scary as it may seem, doctors are fallible, just like the rest of us. It is undeniable that facing a medical situation is stressful as a patient. It is understandable that you might be easily triggered into an emotional response when dealing with such issues. However, your doctor is never the person to aim your frustrations at. It takes a great amount of trust seeing a doctor. Not only are you putting your health in the hands of someone you essentially don't even know, but you are also trusting them with perhaps embarrassing aspects of yourself. Still, sometimes you might believe that you might know better about a certain something, especially when it comes to your own body. Of course, telling your doctor you know better than them is a bad idea. It is undeniable then that you need to trust your doctor and be truthful with them. Things like your personal religious beliefs can also become a barrier to receiving the best possible medical care. The author gives some examples of this. One story tells of a Jehovah's Witness who cannot receive blood transfusions. Another tells of a Muslim husband who was unwilling to let his wife have a cesarean section as none of the available staff were female. Considering lives are on the line, it's natural to think that all the tools available in a medical center would be state-of-the-art and ready to provide care to all. Unfortunately, while this might be true in certain places, it might not be so in public or low-budget hospitals. One of the main jobs of a doctor is to diagnose. But since there are so many different conditions that might present similar symptoms, running tests and scans can help narrow things down. With the fast-moving pace of technology, this is only made easier in modern times. Still, just because a certain piece of equipment is on the market doesn't mean that every hospital is quickly and automatically fitted out with it. New medical software meant to aid might cause the system to repeatedly crash. It seems completely counterintuitive, but when some improvements are made, they end up making things worse. Even if they are just administrative, there are far-reaching implications of having these issues in a hospital setting. Doctors are also exposed to trials and tribulations with regards to their own health. It may seem ironic, but ultimately it makes sense. They work countless hours on little sleep and spend most of their time in the hospital where they work, the same place where bacteria and viruses abound. Emergencies don't discriminate. There are many things that a doctor sacrifices when having to handle emergency after emergency, hour after hour. For example, food, sleep, the luxury of going home on time. All of this takes a toll. It may come either in the form of heightened stress or extreme fatigue, bleary eyes, or a weakened immune system. This may seem like a strange double standard, one that does not seem reasonable to be tolerated by the general masses, especially since the only excuse for expecting doctors to undergo such hardships is because they are some of the elite people who are qualified to treat our ills and pains. Each profession has its ups and downs, but being a doctor means that lives are in your hands. It's not something that most people can fully understand or appreciate. Doctors are, in a sense, dehumanized because it's difficult to grasp how much responsibility they have while still being just another fallible human. In 2016, the UK government made it so that working as a doctor under the NHS meant even more work and less pay, although the situation for them had been bad already. This book aims to give people a better picture of what it is like to be an NHS doctor. Adam Kay shows us that it is neither a glamorous nor well-compensated job, at least, not monetarily. The book is made up mostly of diary entries, retelling anecdotes that are both hilarious and heart-wrenching. It promotes new respect for all doctors fighting the good fight. For the author, working under the NHS meant that he was frequently underpaid and overworked. Gaining experience and seniority did not come with significant salary increases. Instead, you are expected to shoulder ever more responsibility, handle the more challenging issues, and be the one who gets referred to when others cannot handle things themselves. In addition to insufficient monetary compensation, working as a doctor can be thankless too. While patients are more likely to be grateful to the people who have treated them, it is not something that is a given. Worse yet is those in administrative positions can be more concerned with the bottom line than the welfare of their staff. The job is already demanding, putting doctors at risk of depression and other forms of mental illness. Sadly, these issues are seen as taboo and to be avoided at all costs. When tragedies happen, such as a doctor attempting suicide, authorities would much rather choose not to touch the issue with a 10-foot pole. The relationship you have with your doctor is a unique one. There is so much that they first have to know about you, intimate details that you might never share with anyone else in your life before they can even start treating you. They may save your life or help bring new life into the world. Most people can escape their jobs once they go home. This is far from true for doctors. In addition to all of the troubles faced in their jobs, doctors don't just stop being doctors when they are off the clock. This not only includes dispensing advice to friends and family. Should any emergency arise in public, doctors are compelled to act despite not being compensated for it. The unexpected nature of these emergencies is more difficult to handle for multiple reasons. There is a lack of suitable equipment. You are on your own, without any other medical personnel to help you. You yourself are physically, mentally, or emotionally unprepared to take the reins. You might be enjoying a meal or a night out with friends, only to suddenly be placed on high alert and in charge of keeping a total and complete stranger safe. Though doctors are often thought of as being rich and highly respected individuals, the reality is far from glamorous. Many factors go into a doctor's working hours that deplete their bank account, deplete their emotional well-being, and deplete their ability to enjoy the time they have off. So much responsibility is put upon doctors that is not compensated for and are unknown by the public at large.